hand it off to the lovely Karen, owner of the Tumble Zone, so that she can share her story. How did you get started? So take it away, Karen.
Okay. Hi, everyone. It's so nice to see everyone on here. And I just want to give you a little background of what I did. After high school, I went to college and I was planning on being a teacher. So I went and did my elementary education. I graduated from Montclair State. And when I graduated college, it was in 2008. And teaching jobs were very hard to even get an interview for. So I sent out all my applications, never received an interview, for the teaching position in a public school. So it just so happened that I was running errands and I met my friend that I grew up with dancing. And she said, I work at a Catholic school. We're hiring. Do you think you can come today for an interview? She really needs a teacher. So I went in and I applied and she hired me right on the spot. And through that job, that first job, is how I got the experience teaching children, learning that I really loved being around, the elementary side. I did preschool up to 5th grade. And as I did that, our school didn't have a summer camp program. So my principal asked if I would run it. So I ran the summer program, which gave me experience in running my own summer camp. And then also with that, I, because it was a Catholic school job, it wasn't high paying. So it really got me working hard. I opened up the school, I did aftercare, I ran the summer camp program and was a teacher. So with that experience, I did that for 6 years. And then it just so happened that the school was closing. So I had a friend that was a teacher with me who I graduated college with. And she said, I want to open up a business with children. We were going to possibly do a daycare. And then I just loved dancing and gymnastics. I grew up doing that. And, opening up a daycare is hard work. So I figured, and it's a lot of state regulations. So we said, let's try and do something more where we're teaching, but it's more fun with the kids. And we got to do what we love, like our passion. So we thought of the name, we, opened up the business. And then it took, as we were still teaching, it took the year to get settled. We had to find a location, which we did. And then we opened up Tumble Zone. So it's a lot different from teaching when you open up a business. So everything was new. We didn't have any money to start with. We got a severance from the Catholic school job that we had, and which was a blessing because we had no money to start it with. Everybody that we would express that we wanted to start the business was saying, you have to make sure you have money and all these, different things to start the business. But it ended up working everything out for our favor. We prayed. She was Christian as well. We found a great location and we had so many friends and family that helped us get this business ready with like little tasks. They helped us paint, just any help that we got, it was such a blessing. So we opened up the business. And in the beginning, when you first start a business, you're thinking, oh, we're just going to have people show up. And it's not the case. So we had to, it's humbling just when you first start it. And you think everyone knows about you, but you have to really put yourself out there, word of mouth. We did parks, handing out flyers. And, it started off really slow where we really doubted, like, is this business going to work? We, when we prayed about it and we said, as long as we have enough money to pay our expenses, we knew that we're for a salary or even pay to come in the first few years is, usually it takes a while to get started. So we said, as long as we have the bills paid and we know that this is something that's a blessing to children and a place that they can come to have fun, we're going to stick it out. And we did. And as we grew, just to give you some background. So we did it at the facility, and then just in prayer, my husband just happened to be speaking with one of his friends and said, I'm a school teacher. Did they ever think of going into the school to do an enrichment program? So one thing leads to another. So even though our facility was slow, we were able to start a traveling program, which helped us, get more revenue that ended up starting to help us pay the bills, pay ourselves. It was a total different entity on top of our facility. So even if when you do start a business, if you're slow, just anyone, like my husband, who had no experience even working with children or knowing anything about our business, just happened to be talking to his friend who was a teacher who got us into the school. So, never lose faith in what you're doing. If it's your will to be there, and God's, and you're asking God, like, is this your will for me to do this business? He will provide in circumstances that you would never think possible. So because of that, it changed our business. We sustained it. We grew. It was exposure for, because the schools have a lot of children. So our program was really packed, and then it brought people to our facility. So just never give up faith in what you're doing. Even if you, in the beginning, it is slow to start up. And then just to keep it short with my talk, when there's so many challenges with the business, but so many blessings. So if you're having struggles with your business, think of all the little blessings, those people that are showing up, the ones that you have. Just you never know when people come to you. Like in the beginning, we were slow with 40 kids, but then after that, we grew to 100 and then 200. It's just be patient with it, because it does take time. Like I'm in my business now almost 9 years. So it did grow over those 9 years to now it's a profitable, business. And there were so many changes. Now I don't have a business partner. So all of those, right before COVID happened, she wanted to do something else. So it was scary just taking it on with the virus going, with the closure and all that going on, then to lose a business partner. But there were so many blessings that, came out of it. And yeah. And then I do want to point out that we did have so with the COVID, before that, our business sustained a flood. We saw God's blessing through the flood. During the flood, with our facility just totally flooding out, we had our traveling program, which provided finances until finding a new location. And then also with just COVID, with the shutdown, we were shut down for 4 months. And then just God providing in all the ways, my landlord having grace and, taking those 4 months where I would have had to pay rent. He said, don't worry about it. When you reopen, we'll do a payment plan. And then just people being loyal, and then the customers, coming when we reopened, and the business just took off, so just have faith, even with those obstacles that come, you'll get through it. Just ask for God's guidance and, different things that, ways to, if there's a roadblock or something that's happening, just other ways that you can, sustain your business.
Wow.
I know
the COVID thing, right? And having to shut down, but you still seeing the provisions, and you still kept going, right? Regardless of what came your way. I mean, I think that's key what you said, just be patient and keep going, and look for different ways that you can have streams of income coming in. I think sometimes we think, well, it's just this way, this is all, but you have to get yourself out of that box and be open to opportunities, be open to networking. Networking is key and huge. Like you said, your husband didn't even know anything about the business, but having a conversation, just being at the right place at the right time does help, but it's just the conversations. And we're open to just share what we do, hear what others do. You never know how you can be able to help each other. So that's awesome.
Yeah, share your struggles, because you never know. Also, when I started the business too, our parties were our birthday. We do birthday parties, and when we were first doing birthday parties, it was very slow. And my friend, that was another young girl that she was opening up her studio in our mini mall, and she had just suggested, why don't you try Groupon? And just starting that Groupon opened up. We started off doing like maybe 1 or 2 parties a month. We were doing 7 in a weekend. We had to like slow it down, but it was such, there's just, talk about your struggles, talk about, you can get ideas from, like speaking today and, hearing everyone, like just talk to other entrepreneurs or just people in the industry to get, connected and see how, you can flourish with different streams of income. Yeah,
no, for sure. And what you just said to talk about your struggles, because you really never know who might be able to help. Right?
Yeah.
I think oftentimes we're we're either afraid or we're a failure.
Mhm.
And I'm like, but guess what? All these people who've made it, they failed at one point. They just kept going. Just get yourself back up. Just dust yourself off, and it's like, okay, tomorrow it's going to be better. And we learn from our failures. So let's count those things as lessons learned. But yeah, it's just, this is really good. I like the fact that you just kept going, and God, like you said, key thing, God puts the right people in our path.
Yes.
We do our part. He does his.
Yep.
Awesome. Does anyone have any questions for Karen?
Hi. Well, you had asked when Karen dropped off, like, is there anything that resonated? And I just wanted to share, like, first of all, I'm just so grateful. Thank you for the opportunity to be on this call. Thank you, Karen, for sharing. And it's not a coincidence that Karen, hi. It's not a coincidence that Karen was speaking today. Karen and I have some history, and I haven't seen her in a while, and I love her and adore her. And I went through a similar situation with my business as Karen. And I just wanted to share, like, I'm so encouraged, and I've been feeling very defeated and kind of in a stagnant water of, like, what's next? What do I do? And you sharing about how God provided the whole way just reminded me that God will provide. Yeah. So, like, just a quick little, for those on the call that may not know, I owned a business very similar to Karen. I had a business partner, and actually this past August, I've ended my partnership, and the Lord told me to walk away from the business completely and just hand the business over to her. And it was a hard pill to swallow, because I put my whole life into that business, and I took a lot of, like, I did it, where I had to remind myself and really humble myself to say, no, the Lord did it. Okay. So he will do it again. And I'm looking at now restarting and rebuilding and taking on another brick and mortar. And it sometimes feels like nail biting, like, can I do this? Like, I don't know. Like, there's a element of fear that the enemy is trying to use to stop me from going forward. And also, like, looking around saying, well, I don't have anything to go forward with. I don't have finances. I don't have the resources. But then I'm like, wait, but God has it all. Just keep trusting him and keep talking to people about it, because people have, through it, I have been, like, heard from other people, like, well, there's grants out there. There's opportunities. There's investors out there. There's opportunities with other resources. So thank you for sharing, Karen. Thank you, Eneri, for inviting me to the call. And that's just what I wanted to share.
You're welcome.
So,
you're welcome.
thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with that. It's like sometimes we put our own stumbling blocks. Sometimes the enemy puts those stumbling blocks and makes you feel like you're not worth it. It's not for you. But God, if he brings you to it, he'll bring you through it. We do have to do our due diligence. Everywhere in the Bible, at least when it talks about the stories of people who wanted healing, or people who wanted this, who wanted that, God asked them to do something first. Just think about that. The man by the water, he had to want it. He had to go to the water. There's just so many instances where God is asking us to do something. And oftentimes we start feeling, oh, but I can't do that. But why not? Why can't you? Because of the negative things that have been in your head. Sometimes they're just in our own head, or things other people have put on us over the years, whether it was when we were little, whether it was when we were in our 20s, wherever. We start believing those lies that we can't. But I'm like, no, yes, we can. God, we are fearfully and wonderfully made. That's how he's made us. He's equipped us with everything that we already need. We just have to step forward and step in faith and do our part, and he'll do his. So that's for wherever we want it, whether it's business, whether it's stuff with our home. We can get very easily overwhelmed because we try to take it in our own shoulders. And we have to learn to, okay, Lord, I'm giving it to you, because without you, I can't do it. But in you, with you, we can do all things. As long as it's in his purpose for us, he'll open the right doors. And he'll also close doors, like Kim said. He'll close doors that are not meant for you. Sometimes we do get into things that are not meant for us. But if we seek him, he'll let us know. It's like, seek and you will find. But yeah, we're more than capable. And there's so many resources, like Kim said, available to us. We just have to figure out where they are. So again, doing our due diligence, researching, talking to people, networking. I mean, I started this business with no grants, no nothing. And so I'm little by little learning, hey, all right, there's this resource available. Or, hey, in the beginning, I'm doing it out of my own pocket. So what does that mean? There's going to be sacrifices in my life. So do I need to do my hair every 2 weeks now? No, probably not. That money I can use towards my business. So we have to look for creative ways to get our goals done. But we have to get ourselves out of this box that we've often placed ourselves in, or someone else has placed us in. And we have to break free of that, because we are daughters of the Most High God, who wants great things for us, who has promises in the word for us. And we have to start walking in that. I mean, for this to start feeling like a church event, but yes, we're his daughters, says Ramona. I agreed. I'm like, yeah, we can do it. And that's the purpose of this type of forum for me, is to encourage us, to remind us of whose we are, and to have a tribe of women that are willing to help you get there. So any other comments, questions?
Yeah, I'm going to be there. Karen, I loved your story. I just loved every time. It's good to see you. It's always good to see you. I just love the fact that every time you came up against an obstacle, you turned to your faith and to God and just his promises. And I just find that that's very inspiring. I'm sure there's been, obviously in each of these obstacles you've had, I'm sure, definitely during COVID, right? I think many of us were like, oh, how's this going to go down? But just placing your faith in him and knowing that he's going to provide is everything, So I've had to do with my own self, but I just love your positivity and the resources. And, it's funny, I just was listening to a message last night through Tony Evans about Esther and how, God placed her there for such a time as this. And she had a choice whether or not she was going to save her people or not, and I think that's, and there, it wasn't no, accident that he placed her where she was. And I think that just really stuck out to me last night and today, and even in your story sharing and just hearing even Kim's story and, Lenny's, all of us just, we're placed in where we're placed, and it's just what we choose to do in that time, what are our choices, right? Our free will. We're going to turn to God and know that he's going to get us through. I thought that was great. So thanks. Yeah. Very inspiring.
Yeah. The first time I had my flood, I spent so much time stressing and in prayer, but stressing. And I said to myself, when COVID happened, I said, I'm not going to do what I did the last time. I'm just going to trust, because I saw that if I just would have relaxed a little and let God do his thing. I know, like he took care of us, at the time when I had the business partner, because we had 2 salaries now that we had to pay, and he got us through that. And then with COVID, I was on my own, and I said, you know what, this is a time where I can slow down a little bit. I've been, hustling with the business for so long. Let me relax. God will provide. And slowly, I wasn't able to get the payroll protection program, but I was able to get the grant. And with God, he didn't even let me touch it. I didn't even have to touch it. That's how many blessings he gave me, that I took it as like just a safety net if I needed to, but he was like, nope, I have you. And he provided every single time, and to the point where I had such an abundance after COVID, where I had a savings, which I didn't have before. So that helped me like relax a little and, just trust him that he's like, I got you,
Yeah. So good. So good.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, it encourages me. I'm like, yes, the finances will come. They will double or triple.
Yeah. He's like, if you're busy, because when I pray in the morning, even on Saturdays, I'm like, oh, I have to work on Saturday. But I'm like, you know what? He's blessed me with this business. If you have to work on a Saturday, and then then he says, like, I'll give you time to rest. Like, don't, if you show up for me when you're when my, my back is breaking from spotting the kids, or even like if I have a cold, but just a little cold, I still have to show up because there's always those people that are calling out. And, even when you're sick, you kind of still have to go. But he's like, you show up for me faithfully, I will show, he shows up all the time. So I have to say,
Yes, so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we have to have that balance. And I think we have to also be careful not to get so caught up. And I've been a culprit of that, that you're always working around the clock every day, around the clock. Cause I'm like, cause when you really think about it, you're not being a good steward of your time. And we, in the word of God, it tells you we have to be good stewards of our time, treasure, and talent. So it's not just finances, it's of our time. Because if we're not being good stewards of our time, we're not taking care of ourselves, which in turn, we're not taking care of God's temple. So it's like always have that balance. And don't get me wrong, I know sometimes you get caught up and you got to do a little bit more. I know working in corporate for 25, well, actually it was more than that, but my last company for 25 and a half years, there were times that like I was putting in 10, 12 hours but I needed to make sure that I was taking time to rest that week. Because if not, it's like you're not productive. You think you are because you're doing all this stuff, but mentally you're draining yourself. So it's taking you longer to do what you need to do because you're tired and you're frustrated and you got a lot going on. So I'm a proponent of using your calendar, making a plan, and make sure you have a healthy balance. That means, time out for yourself. Oh, of course, time out for God. He's first and foremost. That to me, that goes without saying. But the foundations, God, you, your family, work. Maybe not necessarily in that order, but for me, yeah. How do you balance that? How do you and how to be not just consistent, but intentional about taking that time to have balance in your life? Because if not, you will not do well. There's just no way that you can be all things to all people. And there are people who vie for your attention. Some of them are in your family. Some of them are not in your family. But even then, I found that, hey, I need to tell some people, hey, I only got 5 minutes right now. Can I speak to you at such and such time? Because again, you have to do your job. Whether it is, you got to take care. Some of us have to take care of children. And you want to be present when you're taking care of your kids. Or a family member you're taking care of, or whatever it may be for you, you have to make sure that you're intentional about taking care of yourself, taking care of your family, have that prayer time, worship time to be in the word, because that's what's going to feed every other area of your life.
Yep.
That's what's going to give you the strength in every area of your life. So I hope that you guys are encouraged and get a little nugget or two out of this conversation. Anything else you want to share, Karen, with us?
So for anyone, I just recently with just struggles and waiting on the Lord. So just a little story. Recently I was trying to find a bigger location. But I feel like, so my lease is up. My lease is up in December. And the one thing that I struggle with my business, and it's totally, so my facility is 3,000 square feet. If you know the average gymnastics facility, it's different than like a dance studio. They're huge. They're big warehouse spaces. Yeah. So all my kids that come that are members love Tumble Zone. They love the space. They think it's the biggest place in the world. But when we do birthday parties, we do get those that have attended other gymnastics facilities, and they'll be like, "Oh, this place is small." And right away, what is probably meant to hurt me, from like, how I say the schemes of the devil, and then you get it kind of like take it personal, like, oh wow, just when you think like you're doing great, you'll get a little thing like that. And my business partner and I used to get it a lot when we were in our other facility that flooded. It was a lot smaller than our new facility. Now double what we have. We started off at 1,700 square feet, and now we have 3,000. So we, to us, it's a lot bigger than what we had. So but then when they come out of the gym, they're like, this is the best place ever. We love it. And I'm like, you know what? Like, what? And now you feel like I always get assured after those little comments, little innocent comments, but then that God's like, I have you, be patient. So I was thinking recently, I'm like, I want to get a bigger facility. Now the pricing is so much higher than what it was, before. So, and I found a perfect location, 20-foot ceilings. My ceilings are low, which is hard for the older kids. So I found the perfect facility. But I said to God, if this is not right, please shut any door because I don't want to put myself, now that I am finally getting myself established, I have the savings net. I don't want to get overwhelmed where I lose everything. So I said, if it's not right, shut the door. And I saw it a year ago. I, revisited it. I tried to put an offer in and it was closed. So I was like, thank you for your protection, because just how you may think this is not where I'm supposed to be, or I want something bigger, where you are, it might be the right place at the right time, and God will show you. So I've just been praying, if this is where I'm meant to be, let me appreciate, it is not too small. I have, so many kids that come. I'm blessed with over, 200 kids, where when I had, 40, I was praying even just for like 100 kids. So, and then there's other ways that I've made my business profitable. I prayed and said, if this is where I'm supposed to be, help me make it more profitable, because my classes might be maxed out, but I could also do private lessons. Like I added things where classes are going on. My husband, I just talked to him maybe 2 weeks ago, and I was like, you know what? I feel like I'm supposed to do private lessons while I have classes, because I have such a need. Parents are asking me. And I said, is there a way we can rearrange it so that I can do my private lessons and have a class? And he came in and we figured out a place, and I just grew so many private lessons. Now every half hour I'm having private lessons. So just don't doubt, if, those criticisms sometimes can be a blessing, because it made me change my whole design of my facility. So, never give up, always ask for guidance, and for God to shut doors when, to prevent you from having, a bigger disaster. Yeah. So I just always think of creative ways, like even if you think you're stuck, or, if you can't afford to, get a bigger facility, or just anything in general, just anything with your business, however you think, just there's ways around it, just never give up, be creative.
Yeah, I like what you said. You might be at the right place at the right time. Just be patient.
Yeah.
I'm writing that one down.
It's so funny. Kids will humble you quick when I'm like, it's, but it's good humbling, because they'll make you think, like,
so it was the kids who were making those comments?
Yeah, it was like, and then one time I did have a parent that was saying, oh, it's too crowded in here, you need to get a bigger space. And, I was hearing it more, but not from my kids that always come, because they'll, they think
they love it.
Yeah, it's just like people that, like for birthday parties, because they go from other facilities and then they see it and they're like, wow, this place isn't small, but then they have the best time. So,
and sizes and everything. Right?
Yeah, I know.
It's like, I've been to many big places that the service was horrible, and I would never go again. So, you need to know you and what you bring to the table.
Yeah. Because even I have parents that say, we've been to the big gymnastics facility and they don't get the quality of one-on-one that they get when they're with us. Because for me, it may be smaller, but I love to have more coaches. So we spread out. So so they're maybe getting more coaches and smaller facility and more, time.
Yeah. So good.
Yeah. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Questions. Any other questions? I know some of you are multitasking, so if you can't come off mute and speak it, type it in the chat and I'll ask the question for you. That's quite all right. I wanted to talk about was constructive criticism. So we can have criticism that's constructive, that'll help us, and we can take it like in a good way. But we're also going to have criticism that is not very nice, like Karen. And not, I mean, I don't think they were meant to be malicious or anything like that, but
no, they're young kids, so they just have a filter.
The way you take it is going to be negative. But even in that, like she shared, take a step back and don't be so quick to get offended, because you never know what the person's going through. But what can you get out of it? and see things from that perspective, because I've been there, done that. It's like at first it doesn't sound very nice, and you're like, oh, and you just want to retaliate. I'm like, no, I'm a child of God, can't do that. Do not do that. Let me just, all right, did it sting a little bit? Yes. What can I get out of this? And you'll be surprised what comes out of it, like Karen. So for her, she started thinking outside of the box. Maybe it's time to look at something different. Maybe, again, it's all about the strategy and planning, but also combining it with, all right, God, is this the time? And if not, like she said, bless it or block it. In other words, if it's not for her, then close those doors. And that's what we need to do for me in every area of our lives, because we do have some goals, aspirations, all that good stuff. But if we're not putting it before the Lord, we're going to maybe start getting ahead of what God has for us. And we want to make sure that we are aligned with his will and his purpose for our lives. Doesn't mean don't dream. It means as you dream, pray and write the vision and make it plain, because then he can bless you with that. Then he can open up the doors for you that need to be open, or close doors that are not for you. But you'll know that, hey, God is in this and this is not for me, or God is in this and okay, I'm going to step forward in this direction. And that's with anything in our lives, whether it's a business or a career change, a career transition, whatever that may be for you, marriage, date or not date. I mean, this, you can apply this to pretty much anything, I believe, in your life. How do we move forward? How do we not stay stagnant? Because we're not meant to be stagnant. But what is the right course of action for us, for each of us individually? But his promises are yes and amen. So move forward. All right, no other questions. Unless you guys want to type something really quick or share. I see Kim parked. I'm like, yes. My heart is not going crazy right now because I'm like, all right, she parked. I'm good. Mama Eneri gets worried. All righty. Karen, anything else that you wanted to, kind of chime in that's come up? I can always ask you questions.
Yeah, you can ask me questions, or if you want me to say anything else.
All right, I'll let you share something while I think of a good one.
Okay. So I just wanted, while we're here, I'll just tell you some more I have so many blessings that I just know, just from that, these were just God taking care of me. And I just want to make sure, like, for any bad experiences I have or like struggles, that I just recognize his blessings. So a few blessings. One, during COVID, one of the directors of the traveling program that I had before the shutdown, she called me and said, I just was looking with my husband when my business partner was out, and I said, I want to make this place better, because we didn't have uneven bars that were bigger. We had small ones, and the bigger kids were always like, oh, we want bigger ones, but they were very super expensive and you need to bolt it into the floor. So that was, and now I couldn't get like the standard Olympic size uneven bars. So she had called me and said, this business is closing and they have gymnastics equipment, and I just thought of you. Would you want to come and, check it out? So I went, and they had the most perfect double uneven bars that didn't need to be bolted in the floor. And I was like, wow, I was just thinking about this, and, just thinking of different ways, and just like connections that brought me to the right place at the right time. Just God said, this is perfect for you. And then also during COVID, another time, I got a phone call from I was on the gymnastics team for Clifton, and my friend, one of my teammates, was like, oh, my friend is a coach in Wayne, and we have all this gymnastics equipment that we don't want for free. If you want it, come and get it. And I was like, wow. Like, just when I was like, we need more equipment, I want to make this place better, every time. And I was like, thank you. Like, everything that I needed. I mean, and I've prayed, like, I look back at my prayer books, like, just blessings that I was asking the Lord, more students, a bigger facility, just more equipment. I've been able to check off, maybe not everything that I wanted, but that God was like, I have this for you, I have that. And I just know that I was meant to like keep moving forward,
Yeah.
Just like reassurance, like just so many things,
Yeah.
you know, and it's not even just the material stuff that God's provided, just every little thing that like he just has it prepared. You know, if you just stay faithful and just say like, you know, I'm struggling with even just rest or just, you know, help me be a blessing to families. Like there's so many families that, you know, have said, I can't continue. Like my husband lost a job, that I've been able to say, you know what, just do it for free. And they just things that I can help, and just their gratitude. One parent was like, oh my goodness, are you serious? I'm like, yes. If she's got 2 months to continue, I don't want to take that away from her. And just her crying in my lobby, it was just like, this is what, you know, I just messed, you know, just little things. So
yeah, it's like when we open up our heart to others and we bless others, God just blesses us. That's a byproduct of that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of a really good question that would actually help the rest of us. So when you ventured into like doing this, right? I think it was kind of like, by the way, you figured out, okay, this is what was for you. What was the hardest thing for you to get started?
The hardest thing? Well, my hardest struggle in the beginning was just not having a salary. That was my biggest, like how you said, realigning, like can't get your nails done, just little things that I just took for granted that I could do. I wasn't like I was making a lot of money when I was a Catholic school teacher, but I had other jobs. So it was one blessing that I didn't have to do the 3 different jobs, but that I was like, if I want to make this work, I have to change my, like what I wanted to do, like didn't get my hair done, nails, even just going to Dunkin' and just getting a coffee, like you can make it at home, just little things that I had to just say, I don't need those things. And then finally just appreciating, it's one thing to have a job where you go in and you're getting paid for your hard work, but going in every day, not getting a paycheck. In the beginning, it was hard to say, just keep doing it, because it was a lot of work, but just knowing that you have to stick through it. I was blessed to have a husband, and, you know, like that. So my husband was already established. When before we got married, he already had a house. So there was bills that I didn't have to really be relying on, that he was like, you know, grow your business and, you know, don't worry about it, that I had help that way. But just knowing that, you know, going into work and working so hard, but not getting a paycheck is a struggle, but just keeping through it, you know, if you stick with it, you know.
So good.
Yeah.
That's from, you go ahead, Kim.
On that, was going to write it in the chat, but I'm thinking I would like to approach people and clients about investing. And I just wanted to see what the thoughts are in the room about asking people for investing. I know that the word says like, owe no man any financial, like pay back who you owe. So I'm not looking to like get money in that way, that I wouldn't pay people back, but I'm just saying, like, what do we think about looking for investors?
I would say for investors, so what maybe could help you, because you had an established business already. When I had the flood, I don't know how you feel about this, but this is what happened with us. Is one of our parents was like, why don't we create I don't know, we did a GoFundMe because we had lost everything to do that. So with investors, I didn't let, and just coming from you having a business partner and then separating, I don't know. It's hard. Maybe if we can do like fundraisers or something where people can donate, even like if you do hair, free cuts, but like you could do like, I don't know. I'm just thinking.
Yeah, I could think of some creative ways, but
yeah, because GoFundMe's might be hard if,
I would say GoFundMe makes sense for what happened to you, because you were a business and you guys had a flood, so you have no control over that. And I think so many people are using GoFundMe page for like.
Yeah, I was going to say you don't want to do it. Yeah.
So people kind of stay away from that. So I do know some people who from being in corporate, that I heard that they had their investors, but investors mean that they own a piece of it. So you really need to know the legalities of what that means and work with someone that knows about those type of contracts, because you want to make sure that you keep the majority stake in your business and not like someone else is really owning your business. So for me, those are the type of things that I would look into first from that legal perspective, have someone that talk to someone who knows about those things. And if I could think of someone, I will let you, but because that would be my worry, like, wait, investors, you need to lay out exactly what's expected, what they're going to have a part of, whether they're a silent investor or not, because some people invest money and then they're going to try to tell you how to run your business. So those, from a legal perspective, you have to make sure that those things are ironed out. Ramona says, I would suggest, what are your investor conditions, which is some of the stuff I just spoke about, and will you pay them back? And what are their parameters? So again, you would have to speak to someone in the legal field who knows all about those type of setting up the investment type of contract. But I'm not opposed to them. I just want to make sure exactly what you would be getting yourself into and what you're willing to do and not willing to do. And that needs to be ironed out legally before anyone invests in your idea, your company, whatever that may be. Make sense? But before you do that, I would also look into the resources that are available, the free resources that are available for business owners. I mean, I know there's a slew of different ways that you can get financial. I mean, I know you have to apply and all this other stuff, but there are a lot of things out there. And if anybody knows of any, please let us know. And my hope is to start compiling a list of that as well, or at least websites where you can get those. I had one and I don't know what I did with it, so I have to look into that because I need to use them myself. But those will be my ideas towards that. Anybody else can chime in and knows anything of that nature for Kim?
When you were talking about that, my thing that came up was like doing like maybe like a fundraiser event where you can say something about like, these are the services I'm providing. This is a suggested using your talent to fundraise money. Or even like, this might sound like, I don't know, but this is what I'm going to share. Creating an Amazon wish list of things that you do need to, like, you know, like whether it's like blow dryers, whatever kind of hairstyling stuff that you need, creating an Amazon wish list and maybe creating it in a sense of like, you know, for your birthday or for like a special occasion, like sharing those with your intimate friends or your closest friends. Like, instead of getting me a birthday gift, here's my Amazon wish list because I really want to invest in my entrepreneurship. I want to invest in my business. For example, like for me as a single parent, when my family asks me, what do you want? I'm like, for Mother's Day, get me a cleaning lady. Like, forget getting me a gift that's going to stand there. Like, if you're going to spend if your budget is $50 to take me out to eat, how about we put that towards a cleaning lady for a deep cleaning, because that's going to help me. Or even with my dad, what do you want for your birthday? Well, you know something? I haven't gone to the salon for a long time. Can you pay for my salon services? So being creative in those areas of like, what kind of fundraiser can I do? And if you can do like, okay, from 2 to 6, I'm doing a fundraiser, book by appointment, and this is the suggested price of it. And then you can put it towards a savings account towards your business. And then an Amazon wish list that for any occasion, like, hey, how can I bless you? Hey, I have an Amazon wish list. You know, you can bless me by buying something from my Amazon wish list.
Good ideas.
Yep, I've supported a lot of teachers in that regard over the years because they've created these Amazon wish lists, you know, and from a parent perspective, I mean, what better way to say, I'm going to support you in your endeavors, and these are the things you want and or need that's going to better, you know, the kids, this community, whatever it is that your business is doing. Yeah. So I'm on the other end. Like, if you have a list, I'll be the first one looking at it. How can I support you?
Or even with your clients that you already see, like that you're seeing that you have loyal clients saying, hey, I have an Amazon wish list that I'm building up towards, like, you know, once you have your location, like, these are the things I need. I know you've been my client, is, you know, no obligation, even to share. Can you share my Amazon wish list?
Yeah.
You know, to others that might be interest. You never know, you know, how many things you can get from Amazon wish lists to help that's not going to cost you. And you can put that money that you're saving towards renting the facility or towards other causes.
Thank you all. We are at the top of the hour. Hope this was insightful for you. I hope that you have fun. And for me, it's joy. So I get to laugh. I get to share with you all, share our passions, our goals, and go forward and do. And hopefully I'll see you on the
Thank
next
you for
call.
having me. Yeah, bye.
You're welcome. No, Karen, thank you so much for sharing your story and being with us and dropping some of your wisdom.
Yes, thank you.
We
Bye,
appreciate
everyone.
it. Thank you, guys. Have a blessed day.